Sometimes you have something good, then lose it for one reason or another. And if losing that thing turns out to be a mistake, you might regret it for the rest of your life. When Richard Rawlings had to sell a modified 2005 Ford GT, he knew he was making a tough decision. And while his regret doesn't seem to be as deep as it was with some other of his cars, losing his custom 2005 Ford GT still stings, maybe even worse than losing Aaron Kaufman. Along with a modified Ferrari, the GMGT is one of Gas Monkey Garage's most famous modified cars. What's the story of this car? Why does it mean so much to Rawlings, and where is it now? How much did he lose with this gamble? We have new info on this fabulous supercar at TUNANOCRUST, the channel featuring the hottest news about your favorite car TV celebrities. If you think you've heard the name Richard Rawlings before, you probably have. We've done a few videos on him, his shows, and his famous cars already. So if you need a refresher, check out some of the videos linked below or above. Rawlings has been buying, selling, and modifying cars for decades. Uncle Richard even got on a Dodge commercial. But you probably know him from his reality TV shows including Fast and Loud and Garage Rehab. Both of those aired on Discovery, so if you have Discovery Plus, check them out. You can also buy individual Fast and Loud episodes on Amazon Prime and iTunes. Enjoy a trip down memory lane. However, please respect that Rawlings has said in no uncertain terms that he no longer wanted to do anything on television. Follow his social media and YouTube channel instead. Those are updated often and feature a ton of unique cars. Check their weekly updates out for yourself. He is equal parts car savvy and business savvy, so it's rare for him to severely misgauge a used car's potential. Restaurant chains are another story. The car we're talking about today, the 2005 Ford GT, appeared on Fast and Loud, but its story does not start or end there. It has a reputation all its own. This American-made car is up there with European speedsters like Ferrari and Porsche when it comes to being a race car. Like the Ferrari F40 in our other video, the 2005 Ford GT is a legendary supercar. Unlike Ford's other family-friendly vehicles, the 2005 Ford GT was designed with speed in mind. Like most race cars, it has a simple interior with excellent visibility. With 550 horsepower, the 05 GT can go from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds and hit speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. Did we mention that it looks not just beautiful but distinctive? Regardless of what features it has inside, the Ford GT has a sleek, unmistakable silhouette. You see a 2005 Ford GT and you know it's like nothing else. The look is icing on the cake of its performance, but that's some nice icing. We'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings Casino. Father's Day is coming up, and if you're looking for something fun to play and potentially win some money, well, DraftKings Casino has over 300 real money games to try and play. I've played a few fun and exciting games, and I promise you, you'll find a game that suits you with over 175 slot games for you to choose from, including your favorites and an assortment of DraftKings exclusives. There are so many ways to have fun. If Casino isn't yet available in your state, check out DraftKings Daily Fantasy app, where you can win cash prizes all season long. Most importantly, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. The best time to start playing and winning with the #1 ranked online casino app is now. This Father's Day, DraftKings is matching new casino customers' first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And giving an extra $10 in casino credits when they sign up using promo code NOCRUST and make a minimum $5 deposit. The link will be in the description of this video. Now, let's dive back in. Along with the Mustang, the Ford GT is one of the very few American supercars. Despite lacking the lighter frames and other modifications of Porsche and Ferrari, it can compete with the best European racers. The original Ford GT40, named because of the 40-inch high roof, was a racing champion. Every other GT is meant to be a fitting tribute. The first-generation Ford GTs from 2005 and 2006 tend to cost the most. The sticker price at the time of the 2005 Ford GT's release was $150,000. But if you think that's a lot, you should see how much these cars go for at auction. An auction at Sotheby's in 2022 featured a 2005 GT owned by Kid Rock. The value of the car plus the brand power of Kid Rock led to a massive $638,000 sale. and that's some serious cash. Despite these prices, the Ford GT depreciates significantly over time. Driving one can take $50,000 from the car's value. That's why many car collectors never drive them, preferring to keep their rare beauties in showroom condition. There are also some glitches on the earliest models that might make them riskier to drive. But even a 2005 Ford GT with a few miles on it should go for a pretty penny. If anyone watching happens to own one, it might go for $300,000 at an auction. No wonder Rawlings thought it would sell. So how did he find such a rare car anyways? The former supercar came to Richard Rawlings as a crashed mess. The front was entirely smashed in. The red paint looked good, but everything else, not so much. Rawlings has a history of turning salvaged cars into art, and there was no way he would let this supercar drive away.
Oh my God. Where's the rest of it?
It's laying over there.
Wow.
By the time the monkeys were done with it, it was a driving machine. It got a new coat of paint, new suspension, new everything. It even got a new decal that designated it as the GM GT. As an interesting note, the gas monkeys lowered the roof by 2 inches so that it could use its newfound 808 horsepower better than it could before. They took the GT's need for speed to new levels. The GM GT has been described as the ultimate custom Ford GT and a super-duper car. It is the only car that Rawlings has ever taken to the Circuit of the Americas, the only Formula One racing track in the United States located in Austin, Texas. This was definitely one of Rawlings' babies. As you can probably imagine, Rawlings was reluctant to part with such a famous, fabulous car. His original intent with the salvaged car was to flip it immediately, but Aaron convinced him to keep it.
Well, if that's all you want to do. There's a body shop down the way if we're just in the collision repair business.
Come on.
Last I checked, this is still a hot rod shop.
How are you going to improve on a Ford GT?
We can improve on the stance, the brakes, the wheels, the power.
The resulting car was a showroom-worthy piece that went from trash to a gas monkey treasure. After making it into a super-duper car, they never thought they would have to give it up. But times changed and so did the economy. Right as the car was finished, NASCAR just so happened to be hosting a race at Texas Motor Speedway one weekend, and a well-known driver named Brad Keselowski showed up at Richard's shop to take a look at the GM GT.
Let's get this thing dirty.
Heck yeah.
When he showed me the Ford GT, that's a sweet ride. Dude, I would get in so much trouble if I owned this car.
Oh, this car will get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, even after a test drive with Richard and probably a few beers, even Keselowski wouldn't pay $500,000 for the salvaged Ford GT. So Rawlings had no other option but to send the car to auction, to hopefully break even at the very least. Rawlings is no stranger to auctions. He sees his collections as investments. With the reputation of Gas Monkey, the charisma of a first-gen GT, and modifications that greatly improve the car's performance, he was expecting a massive sale.
I think $300,000-$400,000 is the top of the market here at this sale, which is probably a good thing for them because it's their first time to do it. But my GT needs to bring $350,000. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Maybe not Kid Rock numbers, but up there. As nervous as he was, he listed the car for auction with a reserve set at $300,000. As the bids came in though, Richard knew he was screwed. The bidding seemed to halt at $230,000, so he decided to take off the reserve to hopefully start a bidding war. Instead, it sold at auction for $230,000. Once Rawlings realized he didn't even break even on the car, he was absolutely pissed. You can clearly see here his face as he sold his dream Ford GT for a loss. Given what an intact but worn 2005 GT could potentially sell for, that's not too bad. But the brand power of Ford and Gas Monkey could have pushed it higher. Rawlings wanted to sell it for $500,000, but there just wasn't enough interest. He ended up losing more than $20,000. Would you have bought the GM GT if you had that kind of cash to splash? Would you have paid more or less? Let us know in the comments below what you think the GM GT should have sold for. Unfortunately, despite Rawlings' efforts to make it run, the current owner, who chooses to remain anonymous, keeps that rare car like a dragon guarding its gold. Again, this is pretty normal for car collectors who know what the 2005 GT is worth. The Gas Monkey branding probably makes it even more of a treasure. But Rawlings clearly misses this car for more than just the price tag. His attempts to buy it back from the collector have failed. Ford himself would have appreciated seeing one of his revitalized cars on the road instead of on display. And the general sentiment is that fans of the show would rather see the GM GT on the road too. In other words, Rawlings has some serious regrets. A recent tweet on May 11, 2023 features him and his followers reminiscing about the car. Taking a trip down memory lane to the Gas Monkey 4 GT. Even with our eyes closed, we can still hear the powerful roar of this unforgettable build. Many of Gas Monkey's followers say that the GM GT is second only to the Ferrari F40. And really, there's no shame in being second best to a Ferrari, let alone one that scored an underdog victory for gearheads everywhere. Go watch our video on that. The GM GT remains beloved by the fans of Fast and Loud, even though it's sitting in a collection. Perhaps out of nostalgia, however, Rawlings sponsored another modified Ford GT, dubbed the Bad GT. This 2006 Ford GT, driven by Johnny Bomer, could hit over 300 miles per hour. It had been modified over 16 years, getting faster every time. On December 9, 2022, the modified Ford GT broke the world record speed for a street-legal car at 310.8 miles an hour. Rawlings flew to the NASA runway to see history get made. However, it was not his car. All he did was sponsor Bomer's dream to modify his 06 GT into the world's fastest street car. While technically not a Gas Monkey Garage creation, the Bad GT remains on Gas Monkey Garage's page as a legendary moment. That's one way to deal with the loss. But what about you? Would you drive the GM GT if you had it? Again, how much would you have paid for it? More importantly, everybody makes mistakes. What's one mistake you regret making? Have you ever gotten over it? Did you do something awesome afterward? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You'll definitely regret missing the next big thing.